Good morning, Michigan. Good morning to U.S. Arab Radio listeners. This is Adel Mozip welcoming you to the show. Today I'm very delighted to welcome three council folks from the city of Dearborn Heights and also the city of Hamtramck. To my right here is Councilman Adel Mozip from the city of Hamtramck. And obviously he's vying for a seat this November. November 5th is election day. So I encourage everybody to go out and vote. Today, I'm also delighted to have with me Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton.
Good morning.
Good morning, from the city of Dearborn Heights, and also her colleague from the city of Dearborn Heights, Councilman Dave Abdullah. Good morning. I'd like to get an intro of all of you, and I will try to do my best here, but I'd like you to do the intro to the listeners and possibly the voters who are speaking to you. We welcome all of your questions. We'd like this to be as engaging as possible. So anybody who has any questions to the council members, they can definitely shoot a question online on Facebook, or you can call into the studio at 248-557-3300. Obviously, we're going to discuss two different cities, but municipalities are very similar and they have similar issues. So we're going to speak to some issues and hopefully shed lights on others, and also talk about elections and how our candidates and our council members are prepping for this election. So Saad, you were elected back in 2015?
Yes.
Right. Your second time running for office. You ran for, I think, a seat on the school board before, and you did not make it. So public service has been something that you do enjoy. So you ran again in 2016 and became first place. 2000.
Yeah, for the council 2015, but I ran for state rep in 2017.
Right. So you've been obviously very engaged. But 2015 is when you made history, being the first Yemeni American council member to make it first place. I believe the first council member was the late Abdullah Al-Ghazali, and you were following on his footsteps to represent your entire community in Hamtramck. So just give the voters more information than what I just gave.
My name is Saad Al-Masmari. I'm Hamtramck resident, and I'm a person who likes to be engaged in community manners and being a social person and try to help the community as best as I can. So I find it difficult to serve as a normal person from a member of the community, and I thought it's going to be more effective for me to serve from an elected official seat, whether it's a school board, a council member, or a mayor, or whatever. So since I made that decision, I start running for offices starting in 2014 for Hamtramck School Board. That was my first campaign. I did good. I got the third place, but I did not make it. In 2015, by the way, in 2012, I worked for Dr. Al-Ghazali, alayhi rahmatullah, for his campaign. And then in 2015, I ran for Hamtramck School, for Hamtramck City Council. That was a great election, and everybody was talking about it. It made a national news. Yeah.
Thank you, Saad. Let's go to Lisa. Lisa, you've been in politics for a long time, but you were first elected to the city council in Dearborn Heights in 2012, if I recall.
November 2011, took office January 1st,
Okay.
2012. Prior to that, what I'd like people to know about me is I am a faithful servant, a mother of three, and an educator. I was in education for close to 23 years before I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis and forced to retire. And I have always been involved in the community. Wherever I live, because we're a military family, moved around a little bit, but I always believe in giving back to the community and being involved, because if you see something that you feel can be improved, you roll up your sleeves and you get it done. So that's always been my perspective on service. So I'm a public servant, again, educator, elected took office January 1st, 2012, was reelected in 2015, top vote getter in 2015, and now we're coming out of primary as top vote getter. We don't take anything for granted. My perspective is on service, to focus on civic engagement. Those have been my words since the very beginning. But not only that, it's my commitment to our residents to make sure they have the opportunity to share what's important to them and to truly work for them as their elected official. And we need to keep in mind the legislative branch, that's our responsibility to our constituents. We are the check and balance for the executive branch. And I think it's very important just to always keep that perspective. I have something on my desk that I look at every single day and read, and it's taken out of the City of Dearborn Heights Charter that says to do what's in the best interest for the city and the community, the residents of Dearborn Heights. And I remind myself and read that every single day. So it's an honor to serve. Thank you for having me here this morning. But, I've served on several boards and commissions in Dearborn Heights, as well as throughout, the state of Michigan with the Michigan Municipal League, as well as Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. And I've been doing that for now, like I said, 8 years. But the reason we do that is because we have more networking and access to resources that we take back and use in our community to improve our community. And this guy sitting next to me here can speak to that as well, because we've been to a lot of things together, including through the Michigan Municipal League, the Elected Officials Academy.
Yep.
And I don't know what level you're on, but I just finished 3. So what are you on?
I think we graduated together, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. So we're kind of in it together.
So I should get the credit for doing a reunion here.
Yes, yes.
And we also have our councilman, Dave Abdullah. Dave, you're on the screen. Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. So tell us more about yourself. You were first elected in 2015.
2015, I was elected to the city council. I've been involved in different forms of politics on the back end for probably about 20, 25 years or so. Worked with different organizations over the years and different politicians, again, on the back end with different campaigns and what have you. Made a decision that it was time for me personally to get involved in politics. And that's when I ran for election in 2015, and I was blessed by God to be elected. I'm up for re-election again. Decided to make that commitment again. It is a big commitment, amongst all of us. It's definitely a major commitment when you commit to this type of thing, because there's a lot more time involved than people realize, not only in terms of the actual meetings themselves, but there's a lot of back end stuff that we are involved with. There's a lot of stuff that we as council people, myself and all of us here included, get involved with that are really not necessarily a part of the quote-unquote job. In other words, and I'm sure we've all gotten those calls, garbage didn't get picked up, so we help them coordinate that, and sometimes a tree's not cut right or it needs to be cut, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what? We're all in this to provide service to the residents, and that being the case, no matter what it is that they call you on, even if it's something that's not a part of quote-unquote your job, you do whatever you kind of try to help them navigate through the process. Because a lot of times we are the ones that people are familiar with, like if you want to call it the face of the city, and they recognize us, so they figure, they don't know which department to call.
They recognize your name, right?
Yeah, and they don't know who to call,
And
in the
sometimes
city.
they think that you have the magic stick and you can solve all the problems.
All the problems, right. So they'll call us on things that maybe they should be calling maybe the mayor's administration about, or maybe the treasurer, et cetera, et cetera. But it's okay. We take it, what do you call it?
You
As far
help
as
them navigate the system
exactly.
most of the time.
Yeah, and as far as my experience, I've been appointed twice now, back to back, by our Governor Snyder, and now by our new governor on Commission for Middle Eastern Affairs. I'm a commissioner there, as I know you are, obviously,
Yep.
Adel, also. I'm vice president of APAC. That's an organization, political action organization I'm vice president of. I've served as chairman in many different mosques as far as board of directors. I'm on the Bitchville Board of Directors Executive Club. And I'm also my main job, my income job,
Yep.
is I'm a real estate agent in the area for the last 32 years in the Dearborn Heights market.
Yeah. So we see your signs everywhere.
Yeah,
Dave, so.
so I'm blessed. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. All right. So what? Do we still have the call on? Okay, he dropped off. So I'm sorry. I don't usually take calls. I'd like to do intros in the beginning. And I think they're very important to do so listeners would know what we're talking about and what who our guests are before we take calls. But now I'd love to get your call. So whomever called us in the beginning and dropped off, I hope that you can call again and ask your question, because now it is the time to ask your questions. So my first questions, and I'll begin with Dave and Lisa, and you can take this both ways. Dearborn Heights has been in the news for now the past 2 years. There has been a lot of issues coming. Obviously, with any elected body, there are a lot of issues. But for Dearborn Heights, it has been special, I think. Mm-hmm. And people actually from other cities, like including mine and Dearborn, we've been tuning in to Dearborn Heights because sometimes, I hate to say it, it's been entertainment just to see the back and forth. It is politics, and whomever is very involved in politics, they kind of enjoy this stuff. They say, okay, what is this person going to say? How is this person going to vote? But why all of this drama at Dearborn Heights? And I'd like to get both you
Sure.
take on this.
Sure. Well, I think what's happened, and look, I think it's good. What's happened is there's obviously been some tension between mayor's administration and sometimes with the council. I think overall it's healthy if we deal with it in a civil matter. It's checks and balances. It's a normal part of government. We have the three governments, and this is normal checks and balances. Sometimes it's gone a little bit more towards the entertaining level to maybe say it in a politically correct way. So maybe not the level that I personally would be comfortable with as far as how we resolve things. I think we should always try to resolve things in a civil matter. We should respect each other's, and I can tell you this is the way I personally deal with things. So we should respect each other's opinions, even if we don't agree. One of the things that I love about this country is the right of freedom of speech. And with that being the case, just like I serve with you on a commission, we don't always agree. Me and Lisa don't always agree, and me and the mayor don't always agree, and me and everybody else don't always agree. And I'm good with that. That's good because it's healthy. Now we're getting a debate, and we're getting both sides of the story, the pro and the con. That's normal. Now, as far as a lot of the controversies, there's been some controversial issues in Dearborn Heights that had to be voted on, and being such big issues, you're going to tend to see a little bit more controversy. Like, for example, like one of the things that we had was the marijuana. We voted on the marijuana issues. One of the other things that we voted on was the issue as far as there was an ordinance for hookah lounges. Right now, we got the issues with lead water, as a lot of cities have recently. So these things will tend to get a little bit more debate, and sometimes different people will handle tough situation a little differently. Is it the way I would handle it all the time? No, but you got to respect the system.
Absolutely. Lisa, what's your take on the drama, obviously?
Well, there's several layers here, and there's a lot of history, by the way. So being that this is my 8th year on council, I've seen and gone through quite a bit, which I wouldn't change, by the way, and I don't believe in using fear to intimidate people. And I will tell you that I've experienced it firsthand. It's disappointing. I remind people that we work for the residents, and government should work for residents, about improving quality of life and providing the services that are needed. This is why we collect your taxes. So it's not about personal agendas. There are several points that seem elevated or points of contention, but there's a reason for that. You now have a council. Over the last 2 years, it's been working for you. Is it sometimes people get a little loud? They do. I disagree with that. They should not. Absolutely, they should maintain decorum to really be effective and get things done. Everyone is entitled to their different opinion, as Councilman Abdullah said. That is a First Amendment right. But we, as council members, have a responsibility to our constituents to do due diligence, to research facts. And I make a lot of calls to a lot of people throughout the state to get things researched. Being an educator, I'm a researcher.
And currently you do hold position with Senator Alexander as her community liaison.
Yes, right? I am the community liaison for Senator Betty Jean Alexander and handle a lot of the constituent concerns. So that constituent concerns is very important to me. But back to the issue, and I'm going to take the forensic audit, for example, which is probably the most heated thing that we've seen that continues to go back and forth. I will tell you that the council has every right to call for a forensic audit, and they did. They followed procedure. But when we pass a resolution or adopt a resolution, because resolutions are adopted, that is a legislative act, okay? It is binding. When you have an administration through the mayor's office who does not comply, who fights us every step of the way, the question has to be raised. Why? Okay? Now, we just had again last night, a veto letter was on the agenda for something by charter your council is allowed and authorized to do, and that's subpoena records. That's, in my mind, that's unacceptable and wasting time to veto something that is provided for, and the city council followed the procedure. We did it by resolution. So again, I'm going to tell you, when it comes to forensic audit, there's a great discussion on the cost. That's a fear factor. Okay, it's going to cost $1 million. No, it is not. What you do, we know which accounts that need to be identified. We've already identified them. They're restricted funds.
Right.
All you have is you have someone come in, again, you should bid it out, and then they're able to go into it, give them a timeline, they scratch the surface, they find something legitimate, then it goes up the flagpole.
Yep.
Let's be done with this. Let's quit dragging it out and wasting time, because that's costing all of us, our taxpayers, money at this point.
Absolutely.
And I will tell you, your council has a responsibility to ask those hard questions. And I don't vote yes on everything. I mean, I've voted no. I've stood the ground. I've stood the ground for our residents. I've taken a lot of heat from it. I've had my family threatened. I've had death threats. I've had horrible things happen. But you know what? We're not going to give in, because government should work for you.
Absolutely.
This is what it's all about. And yes, we can agree and disagree. We can be civil as we should and try to get things done. But that forensic audit right now is a hot topic that people are talking about. And I'm going to tell you, your council has every right to do that, and has, by a vote, public record. And we need to stop wasting time and money to take care of this item.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hicks Clayton. I'd like to turn now to Hamtramck a little bit.
Yes.
So we shift to the discussion. Actually, Hamtramck has its own also challenges with the council.
You're right.
So we would like to not hear more of the issues, but how you, Saad, as a council member, how are you able to resolve these major differences between council members and how they look at things?
It is unfortunate that we see gaps between some council members, or maybe the mayor and some council members, and some of the city, including Hamtramck. And we wish not to have this or to see it anymore, but unfortunately it's been for decades in Hamtramck especially. So what we see in Hamtramck is it's basically two sides. Until when we're gonna keep on like trying to lie to each other and saying, now we're beautiful, we're fine, we're working as a team. No, we're not. We're not working as a team. We have two sides, and hopefully we can close that gap soon. We have election coming, and hopefully the new council members will come and try to close that gap, try to stay in the middle, hold the stick from the middle, and try to work for the best interest of our community. In Hamtramck, we have a couple heated issues. Last couple meetings, we talk about marijuana for recreational use. We tried to opt out. I brought a resolution to opt out, and unfortunately we did not make it. Also, we have a refugee housing in Hamtramck. It's called the Freedom Village. That refugee housing is by the Wayne County and by the U.S. Department of Housing, and it's in Hamtramck. It's a three two-story buildings or two-story houses for refugees from around the world. Can people hear? Yeah, you're right. Also, what happened last night at the last night council meeting is we made a contract with a company to assess our properties. So our assessor department does not belong to the government no more. It's going to be a contractor that going to be taking care.
Contracted out your services.
They're doing that, and that happened last night. That was the big achievement last night.
Was that a good thing, you think, for the city?
I think it was a good thing. I voted for it. I supported it because we want a different assessor than what we had.
You want somebody who's very impartial.
Ours is contract.
And we want somebody who knows.
One is not.
And we want somebody who is very knowledgeable about their job, because we have spent a lot of money for mistakes that our former assessor has done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we will take a commercial break, and then once we come back, we do have a phone call to take, and then we'll come back and talk. Hopefully, we're going to talk a little bit about more elections. We're talking about city issues, but we'll take a commercial break, and we'll be back.
مرحبا سعيد.
اهلا علا.
ليش هالمقابلة الفاترة هي؟ بيقول المثل لاقيني ولا تغديني.
يمه زعلتي، شنو رأيك إذا لقيتك وأيضا غديتك بأحسن مطاعم ميشيغان مطعم عشتار؟
والله فكرة، أفضل الأطباق والمقبلات العربية والعراقية وأحلى ملقا.
ولا تنسين اللحوم الطازجة مباشرة من ملحمة عشتار لزباين عشتار، وملحمة عشتار توفر اختيارات متنوعة من كافة أنواع اللحوم وبأسعار متميزة وجودة أيضا مميزة. ملحمة عشتار تقع على 36865 راين رود في مدينة ستيرلينغ هايت.
وأكيد أحلى لمة وأطيب لقمة في مطعم عشتار اللي عنوانه 3625 15 مايل رود في مدينة ستيرلينغ هايت. هاتف 586-698-2585 586-698-2585.
يلا علا،
يلا عشتار، للجودة وكرم الضيافة عنوان.
مطعم عشتار.
When it comes to reproductive medicine, IVF Michigan Fertility Centers are the recognized leaders. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 5 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. As a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Centers, Dr. Nicholas Shama is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. Dr. Shama has performed over 10,000 IVF cases and has helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. American board certified in both obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility, Dr. Nicholas Shama is a very caring, compassionate, expert physician that understands not only the medical but also the emotional toil of infertility on his patients. When it's time, get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio. Call toll-free 855-952-9600, 855-952-9600.
If halal is important to your family, you can trust that Miramar will offer not only the highest quality halal products, but the best tasting and healthiest foods that can be placed on your family table with confidence. Miramar is the first and oldest halal certified food brand in America, serving the Arab and Muslim community, and offers a wide range of halal food products. Check out Miramar's halal food selection today by visiting Miramar's exclusive distributor, Ziad Brothers Importing at www.ziad.com.
The Rama Relief Foundation provides humanitarian aid into areas inside of war-torn Syria, as well as aid to the refugees who have fled to the neighboring countries in the Middle East. The foundation offers food baskets, container shipment, mental health, education, soup kitchens, and more. Go to ramarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any donation amount made to Rama will go to sustaining many lives. Call now 248-990-4247.
And good morning, U.S. Arab Radio listeners. Welcome back to the show. This is Adel Mozip welcoming you. Today, we're hosting city council members from the cities of Dearborn Heights and Hamtramck. I have with me Councilman Adel Mozip, as well as Councilwoman Lisa Hicks Clayton and Councilman Dave Abdullah. And we do have Jerry on the line. Jerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mr. Adel Mozip, for taking my call. Good morning to you, and good morning to your distinguished guest.
Morning to you. Thank you. They all can hear you, so go ahead with your question.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I wish all of them good luck, and thank you for serving the community. My question to all of you, especially in Dearborn Heights or Hamtramck, I do believe guns and drugs and education, very important top things. And lately we did have here very sad some incidents in Dearborn or in Hamtramck, like crime or drugs. Now I do believe Congresswoman Debbie Dingell and Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib represent those cities. My
Lawrence
big question
represents Hamtramck too.
Yes, sir. Yes. My question is rather to your guest. Are they reaching out to those two congresswomen, Debbie Dingell and Rashida Tlaib, to solve these problems? This is number one. Number two, the question probably will be going to Mr. Saad Mismari from Hamtramck about what do you think about the UAW strike against GM? How do you stand toward the union and the General Motors? I would appreciate
Those
the
two
answer.
questions were received, Mr. Habba. Thank you so much for always calling and chiming in. So for those on Facebook Live, they may not hear the question because the audio was very low. The first question was about, obviously, the drug epidemic. What are we doing locally, and obviously engaging our legislatures that he named, Debbie Dingell and Rashida Tlaib, as well as Brenda Lawrence, to face this major issue. And obviously, it's a national problem, but it's even a bigger problem in our community, with a lot of overdoses of youth taking their own lives, unfortunately, with this epidemic. So, well, we can go around the table. We'll begin with Saad.
All right, I'll respond to your question, sir, regarding where am I standing with the UAW. And
yeah, that's your second question.
I'm always standing with the community members, with the low-income people, and with the workers, with the laborers. I think GM and any other big companies, they are a big corporation. They have billions of dollars. They don't care about anything. They don't care about us. So I'm supporting UAW, and I am supporting the people that protesting against GM. I think they have the right to have their own pensions, to have the fair salary and the fair benefits. If we start let the corporations to be against our community members, our hard workers, or our citizens, that means we are making the corporation stronger and ignoring our community members and workers. This is for the first question. For the second question, which is what are we doing regarding the school issues?
No, drug epidemic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have that big problem in Hamtramck, but what we're doing our best. We have a very good newly elected or newly appointed Hamtramck Public School Superintendent, Jalila Ahmed, and that was a big achievement. I think she's doing great, and we also have a good school board members that we've elected back in 2016. So I think we're doing fine regarding the schools.
Okay. So Lisa and
Yes.
Dave, regarding this
Okay.
drug epidemic, it's a huge issue. Obviously, it's
Absolutely.
not just the schools. It's
No,
everybody
absolutely.
is involved.
Yep. So I'd like to, if I may, answer that and share some perspective. So over the last 8 years, one of the things that I've worked really hard at is developing community relationships and partnerships. And that works across all borders, geographical borders, as well as all levels of government. Fully engaged with the school district, the school board members, nonprofit organizations, state, federal level government officials, which is how we get things done, is by having those relationships and communicating with each other, working on multiple issues. So let's talk about the one that you're asking about, and that is the overdoses. This has been an elevating issue for many years in our communities, and I will tell you some of the things that I've done as a council member, and I think all of our council members have come on board, and that's offering resources, town hall meetings for information outreach, working like I've worked with the FBI to do the town hall. They have a wonderful video, actually it's a documentary called Chasing the Dragon, that we got into the schools. My own 16-year-old daughter, who went to the FBI Teen Academy, brought that back to the school district to share. So that education outreach component is really super important. And so we've been getting that into the schools. We're working with local law enforcement as well as federal agencies to make sure there are wraparound services to help make sure we're educating people, but making sure the Narcan's available, making sure there's training available, making sure there's therapy, therapists, and, when people need counseling, making sure that's available. That's all very important, and I think as elected officials, we have a responsibility to bring those resources forward in our community, and certainly we've been doing that for several years now, but we continue to do it and always open to suggestions and advocacy, because we have to advocate for our constituents.
Absolutely.
That's what we call lobbying. People don't like the word lobbying, but we are all lobbyists for you, and that includes that very important issue.
Thank you, Councilman Hicks Clayton. Dave, your perspective on the drug epidemic.
Well,
in relation, if you can touch a little bit on
Sure.
how do
So-
we bring in federal dollars.
So I think federal dollars are obviously important. I think working with our representatives, be it Rashida Tlaib, be it the Hamtramck representative, be it Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, this is all great, and I think it's very important. But I think even more important than that, for me personally, I think we got to work on the local level, and I think we got to work on the home level. Okay, my personal belief is always I've always believed that this all starts at home. I think at home as parents, we have a very, very important responsibility to make sure that we know where our kids are, where they're going, who they're hanging out with. I can tell you right now, for myself firsthand, with all my kids, they're adults now, but when they were kids, I had this rule that my kids couldn't stand. I mean, they hated it, and I understood. But I knew it was very important that I had to meet the parents before they could hang out with somebody. And they used to hate it. And then I would say, at the very minimal, you got to bring me a picture of them, and I got to be able to research those parents to find out who they are, what they're all about, and how they think, how they whatever. Because it's very, very important. If you have good parents, then their friends are going to be good kids they're going to be hanging out with. So that's a very, very important factor. The other very, very important factor, I think, and again, this is with due respect to the federal level, I think it's much more important at the local level and at the home level. The police department, I've had many different meetings with the police department, specifically our local police chiefs, and what things that they are doing to work on this. We have worked, of course, with the federal level, like our Councilwoman Lisa mentioned. We had a couple town hall meetings with the FBI in regards to this. And I do remember also watching Chasing the Dragon. For those that haven't watched it, look it up on YouTube. It really is a very, very powerful video on the drug overdose situation. And I can tell you on a side note, also in addition, let me just finish my first thought. In addition to that, there's also community leaders that should take some responsibility for this, whether it's on the legislative end, with us as council people, but the churches, the mosques, these are very, very important factors. The schools, the school boards, these are very, very important factors, because when kids, and I'm not a psychologist, but just from my experience with raising my kids, once children get to the 14, 15, 16-year-old age, and I'm going to put more responsibility on you as a school board member, what we do as parents, they kind of like push away from, and now their thought process more along the lines of what their friends think.
Absolutely.
So that's where schools come in to make sure that we have the right type of not only infrastructure, but we don't have that person in the school system or whoever it is that's, God forbid, supplying the drugs or enabling that type of a situation. Right. And I know at the Dearborn School Board, I also know at the Dearborn Heights School Board, Crestwood School Board, and District 7, et cetera, they've done a lot of things to try to eliminate that.
Yep.
I can tell you myself firsthand, I don't know if I should do this on the radio, but I'll say it. As a Muslim, as you know, one of the things that has to be done is people their bodies have to be prepared for burial. And I, as a Muslim, am a volunteer of washing people when they pass away and prepare them for burial and shrouding them in the whole 9 yards. And I can tell you firsthand, the toughest thing to do is when you're preparing somebody for a coffin and they're 20, 21, 22, 18, 17. When you do that for somebody that's 78 and 82 and 89 and 90, it's a normal part of their life. We're all going to die one day. But when you have a child, and you can't help but think of your own children, a young man that's 18, 17, 20, 21, and because of HIPAA laws, they don't always tell you what the person died of, but, it's a small community, word spreads right away, and it makes it very difficult. So it's an extremely important problem in our community, and I think more resources have to be put towards it.
I think that the best way, the best way to try to reduce this drug addiction and all those overdose is to have a good relationship between the schools and the parents and the community. If they create an app to get in touch with the schools and maybe teachers or liaisons and the parents, they will be very close to each other and they will understand their kids' issues. That's very important. Yeah.
Councilwoman, you wanted to say?
I did. I had something to add. I think
Sure.
it's important. This goes back to community partnerships and relationships with like your school board members, with that oversight, because that does fall there. But what the city of Dearborn Heights has done through that partnership is by providing like resource officers in the schools, for example, making sure that they're being, empowered and uplifted to help support the school administration, the teachers, and the parents, because it does start in the home, absolutely. And I've seen it firsthand because I'm an educator by trade, that there needs to be these support services. So in Dearborn Heights, we have added the resource officers into our school
Absolutely.
districts.
And that was a good move, by the way, for our city.
Thank you very much to all of you for weighing on this issue, and as wearing the school board hat. I mean, it's something that is very, very important that everybody has to tackle, and it's not anyone's problem. It's not the school's issue. It's not the city council. It's everybody. It takes a village to raise a child, right? So everybody must do their own part, and it starts absolutely at home. And tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are, right? So it really matters all the time who your friends are, because they're going to influence your decisions. Or you might be the influencer. So I applaud all of these friends who are helping each other as far as to get away from this. And if somebody falls, you raise them up and you try to give them all of the resources. And unfortunately, especially in the Arab American community, there is a huge stigma about mental health. There's a huge stigma about drug abuse. But I'll tell anybody who is, going through this, it should not be a shame. What should be a shame is that you're trying to cover it up. Because if you, and I don't know who you believe in a high superior power, God knows what you're doing, right? So you worry more about the people than the superpower above. So, but again, even for the people who have no faith, I tell them that your health is very important. You being engaged and you being a regular member in our community is huge. Do not think that your life is less worthy than anybody else. So seek help. The help is there. There are a lot of programs that will help you as far as mental health. And mental health is a disease, and we have to really treat it that way. We don't treat it in any other way except with the professional help, and seek that help. And obviously there are many discreet ways of seeking that help, and people have done that, and they've came out of it very clean. And I'm very proud of the people who are advocating in the community, and I'm not going to name some organizations that are doing it. They're known for that. And they try to help those, especially the former addicts or the former people who were in this. And they try to help the youth with these things. So the help is there. If you are in that, if you feel like you're trapped, there is a way out. And the way out starts with you. It's not going to start with anybody. If you have that change of heart and that you want to change and you want to be clean, you will definitely be clean. You just need to seek that help. So I have a question right now, and then we'll go to commercial break. It's through Facebook and through our friend Brian Stone. Obviously, he's been reporting on the Yemeni American News. So he has a question for Hamtramck specifically, talking about, again, the UAW recent negotiations or contract negotiations. And he said, have you finally been able to breathe? Because obviously the budget hole from that plant leaving was very enough to cause a lot of real problems for Hamtramck. So he's asking, what's the reaction on the street from everyday folks in Hamtramck about, are they relieved about the agreement with UAW to reopen the plant?
Yeah, we discussed that last night at our council meeting, and we feel relaxed now. We were so stressed about losing a lot of money, a lot of taxes, and a lot of people who are Hamtramck residents, and they were about to be laid off. So we are feeling good about our budget being restored, and hopefully we can get more GM, because I think they are willing to invest billions of dollars in the GM Detroit and Hamtramck branch. So that is a good impact for Hamtramck residents, for Hamtramck community area, and also for Hamtramck budget. We feel very good, and as always, if the residents feel that we have a new business in Hamtramck that will reflect in the street as a services for Hamtramck residents.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Brian is a friend of mine.
Yeah. Our Facebook broadcast was interrupted, so we're still on the air, though. We're going to take a commercial break, and once we come back, we'll talk more about the elections and how you guys are prepping for Election Day. So we'll take a commercial break, and we'll be back.
يوسف الحسن شايفك ثلاث يوم جاي حالك عن
إلي ساعة عم بستناك مشان نروح نتغدى بالشام.
الشام؟
إيه بالشام ومو بالشام.
شلون صارت هي؟
بدل ما نروح نتغدى بالشام
إيه
جابوا لنا الأكلات الشامية الطيبة لعنا لهم.
وشلون بقى؟
هذا مطعم دماس عم يعمل كل الأكلات الشامية الطيبة هو.
وطيبة؟
طيبة كتير.
شرفوا نتغدى سوا بمطعم دماس.
الأكل الشامي الأصيل فقط بدماس كوزين. زوروهم على 28841 أورشد ليك بفارمينغتون هيلز، ولطلباتكم اتصلوا على 248-987-4609. That's 248-987-4609. دماس كوزين and catering، جبنا لكم الشام لعندكم.
Life is a non-profit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. Imad Nakash is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. Imad Nakash. See Dr. Imad Nakash and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937.
Kushat's Mediterranean Market and Shish Kebab offers a great array of your favorite Mediterranean meals. Meals range from lamb specialties, shawarma sandwiches, seafood dinners, and they offer special big trays of your favorite food, plus much more. Kushat's Mediterranean Market and Shish Kebab address is 32839 Northwestern Highway in Farmington Hills. Their phone number is 248-538-9552. That number again is 248-538-9552, and the supermarket is open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Kushat's Mediterranean Market and Shish Kebab will definitely leave you satisfied.
Are you going to start a restaurant or a grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood, 734-744-9796.
And welcome back, U.S. Arab Radio listeners. I apologize. Today is a Wednesday and we're broadcasting in English. اليوم يوم أربعاء كان المفروض البرنامج يكون في العربية. وأيضا أعتذر للزميلة بثينة طه لأنه برنامجها دائما يوم الأربعاء. I truly apologize to Bethina because she has this segment where she talks to us about living or how to live a healthy life, and she gives us a lot of advice. So I truly apologize because today and tomorrow we have back-to-back shows on very important issues. Today we're talking more about the elections in Dearborn Heights and Hamtramck, as well as, by the way, there is elections in Dearborn. There is one item on the ballot, which is the school board bond, and there is also elections in Melvindale There are city council elections as well as a bond for their schools as well, for their public schools. So I encourage everybody to go and vote. You can go and vote from today. Ballot proposal 3 that we passed last year allowed us to go to the city clerk and vote right away with no reason. You don't have to lie anymore, right? You don't have to say you're going to be out of town or you're going to be busy on election day. You don't have to say all of that. Just say, I'd like an absentee ballot and I'd like to vote today. I won't be available on election day.
You also can register on the spot.
And you can register until election day. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But however, if you register on election day, you will have to register and vote at the city clerk office. So you cannot vote at your own precinct. So that's a very important note
Plus
to
they'll
make.
be busy that day, so it's probably not the best day to do it.
Yeah, so it's best right now. If you have not registered to vote, meaning you haven't voted in the last 7 or 8 elections, then that means you haven't registered to vote or you've fallen off the voter registration records. Make sure that you can vote by going to michigan.gov/vote, and you can type in your name and your birthday, and it will tell you what school or what precinct you are at. And if you have changed addresses, same thing. You want to make sure where you're going to be voting. If you're going to college, you can submit your ballot already. I think the last day to ask for an absentee ballot to be mailed to you is this week, if I'm not mistaken. So if you are somewhere else in the country and you'd like a ballot and you'd like your voice to be heard, now is the time to act, and you have to act quickly. So you can get your ballot on time and you can return it on time, so it can be counted. So again, listeners, I apologize. أعتذر كل الاعتذار للذين كانوا يتوقعون أن البرنامج اليوم سيكون باللغة العربية. I apologize to those who were expecting this program to be in Arabic. It's going to be available on SoundCloud, on our podcasting page, on US Arab Radio website, as well on arabradio.us. So if you have any questions for the council members, you can call us at 248-557-3300. Again, it's 248-557-3300. So election day is coming up for all of you. I kind of know the feeling. I ran 2 elections and lost. So it's a really cultivating feeling. Obviously the fall and trick-or-treating and talking to residents during this time about the importance of voting. But unfortunately, city council elections, as well as off-year elections, come to be very low turnout. And obviously, the reasons are there. People are not aware of the election. They don't think of, when they think of elections, they think president. They think Congress.
Or mayor.
Or mayor might not be on the ballot for you, right?
Yeah.
For both of you. I don't think the
we
mayor
don't
is
have
up.
a mayor election,
Okay.
no.
So city council elections differ in Dearborn, where everybody is up at the same time and they get elected at the same time. City council, all 7 members, the mayor, and the city clerk. So for you, it's staggered, definitely, yeah. So tell me, how are you prepping for election day? Where are you spending most of your time these days? And we'll begin with Dave this time.
Well, yeah, personally, I think the prepping. Okay, so my background, my degree from the University of Michigan is in marketing and finance. There's always different things you can do to promote yourself, market, get your name out as far as elections, what have you, is concerned. But your main election process is how the voters feel you've done, in this particular case, if you're an incumbent in your last 4 years, and what you've provided to the city, and what you've provided to the residents, and what time you've put in, for your particular venue, in this particular case, city council. So I can speak for myself. I put in a lot of hours per week, working on behalf of the residents. I take a lot of calls every day, working on behalf of the residents, and like we talked about earlier when we were off the air, trying to help residents navigate through the process to get to the services that they need to get to in the city. So that's pretty much, to me, I've always thought that's your campaign, especially if you're an incumbent. It's what you've done, okay? But as far as other things, we've done the traditional, my campaign team has done the traditional mail-outs. There's been some door knocking, of course. Community, I'm involved with the community 24/7. For those that know me, they know I'm involved in almost anything to do with the community or the city. I'm involved with, and gladly, glad to be involved with the city. As far as other things, there's been no forums or debates or anything like that. One of the other reasons, you're talking about as far as the low turnout on city council, and yesterday the clerk, I think, mentioned it's going to be right around 10% turnout.
That's
so it's typically
very
low turnout as far as number of voters. But a lot of it, and what I noticed, you'd be amazed, a lot of people really don't know what a city council person does. Like, they're familiar with mayor, they're familiar with governor, president, but they don't know what a city council person does. And what a council person does, and it's not to elevate us, but they make typically even more decisions than the mayor.
Right. Yeah, you're the legislative body. You're the legislative part. You're the micro version of Congress in your city.
At the city level. Yep. So a lot of the bigger decisions and a lot of decisions in general are made by the city council, whereas for the mayor, they pretty much just manage, if you want to call it the organization. They're kind of like along the same lines as the president. But the legislative part is a very, very important part of the city. So, again, we're doing a lot of things, phone calls, mail-outs, community events, and then, but again, I will go back. Most importantly, people know that you are working to serve them from your heart, or as they say, بالعربي من قلبك, to give it your all, and that's what I do.
Absolutely. Lisa, how are you prepping for elections? Obviously, I don't want to say you're a comfort since you.
I don't want to say that either. We never take that for granted.
You never take that for granted.
We never take that for granted, and people who know me know that I am a political organizer. And top organizer in 2018, and I know the ins and outs of campaigning. I know what it takes to campaign. I'm going to tell you, I agree with you, by the way, Councilman Abdullah, that the work we do every single day, for the last 8 years, is again really, when we talk about campaigning, that's like, I think people think, how people, when you show up at an event, they go, oh, it must be campaign election time. I don't want to be that person. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm in this to do the work every single day. When I get up, I ask, when I pray, and I say thank you, and I say, how can I serve my community today? How can I enrich somebody else's life, bless somebody else's life? This is every single day. This is a full-time job. It's not paid as that, but that's not why we're in this. We're not in it for the money. So to answer your question specifically, because again, do I campaign? I guess doing mailers and canvassing and phone banking, yes. And guess what? GOTV, Get Out the Vote weekend's coming up. We're all about that. You're going to get mailings. We're going to have people at the polls greeting you when you arrive, handing you palm cards. That's part of campaigning. So, yes, we'll do those things. But the bottom line is what I want residents to think about is a service through the years that is done daily, not just during an election season. In fact, we just did... we looked at my records. We've resolved close to 2,000 issues for residents since 2012. I think it's like 1950 we rounded the number. And it's like that every single day, like every day. I'm talking even Sundays. I'm getting calls at 11 o'clock at night from people because I want to be accessible to them. If I choose to serve and you vote for me, and that's a vote of confidence and trust, I'm going to honor that. Absolutely. You're getting every ounce of me to make sure I'm executing what you need to have done. So that is what I have to say about campaigning.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Saad, what are you doing in Hamtramck to inform people about voting? And also, you said, I believe your colleagues here at the other city are mentioning that this is a referendum for incumbents, right? So people are kind of reassuring or renewing their trust in you as an elected official.
Yeah, and Hamtramck election is different this time, and we have 2 incumbent council members who tried to rerun for this election, and they lost. There are 2 of my colleagues.
So they lost in the primaries?
They lost in the primary, yeah. So we have 3, it's going to be at least 2 new council members, and that is something different. Something that known about me in Hamtramck, that since I got elected in 2015, I kept the circle between me and my community members together. I never left them. I never disappear. I've been with them. I've been informing them of what's happening in the city, and I've been taking their opinions and suggestions of what should happen in the city. So if you ask anybody in Hamtramck, not anybody, but most of the people, they will say, yeah, Saad is easy person to reach out to. So I'm a person that rerunning for Hamtramck to serve you guys. I'm a person that trying my best to promote positively the diversity in Hamtramck, and to keep on fixing our streets. We've been doing great in our streets and alleys, and to keep representing you as a Hamtramck community and Hamtramck members. Please go on, vote for me. Thank you so much, Adel.
Thank you so much to the council members who joined me this morning to have this lively discussion. Again, we're going to have this podcast available for you to listen on SoundCloud as well as US Arab Radio Facebook page. This has been broadcasted live, so if people will have missed it, you can go back and listen to this discussion. If you have further questions, we would like to get them on the comments page. So tomorrow I'm going to host an educator, a doctoral student from the University of Michigan, to talk about the read by third grade law. Mr. Gabe Deville, I can't say his last name, I'm going to butcher it, but we're going to have him tomorrow. I'll practice his last name until tomorrow. So we're going to have him here talk about this important law that is affecting all of our children. Please go out and vote. Make your voice heard on November 5th. If you can't vote or you don't think you're going to have the time on November 5th, go out and vote now. Please make or contradict the or let's say make the predictions wrong about the voter turnout. Hopefully we will see a higher voter turnout. It's very important that you make your voice heard, especially on local elections. These are the people who are making decisions for you on a daily basis. I would say as important as your presidential elections. So it has been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you, everybody. Have a great, blessed day and a great Michigan fall day. So blessed
Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you,
Thank you to the
Thank
council
you.
members. Thank you
for having us.